So not only do you have the danger of the drug, you have the danger of the opium, and if you can't find the pill or you can't afford the pill, then you go to heroin. Heroin is often cheaper and more easily obtained than Oxycontin because you have to have a prescription for Oxycontin. You have to touch some legitimate entity. You have to touch a physician, a hospital, or a pharmacy to get Oxycontin, and it's more expensive. To get heroin, you don't. You don't have to touch any legitimate entity. You can be anonymous, and it's much cheaper. A single dosage unit of Oxycontin sells for about $80 on the street. A single dose of heroin sells for $4 on the street. So $80 or $4, you do the math. This slide here perpetuates your crime problem. If you don't think that drugs impact you, you're crazy. Even though you may not have anyone in your family who is addicted or dealing, this impacts you. Because if you can't afford the $80, what are you going to do? You're going to resort to burglaries, you're going to resort to car thefts, you're going to resort to bad checks, you're going to resort to robberies. That's the problem here. So you don't have to have someone in your family or know someone who has a drug problem to think the drug problem doesn't touch you. It does. It touches you in all these mechanisms because this slide here really encapsulates the crime problem. It's the price that goes with it. Understand this, the problem, unlike other crimes like bank robbery or rape or murder, this crime has two parts of the equation like a math problem, if you think about an equal sign in the middle. You have to have supply and you have to have demand. You have to have people want it, that fuel the suppliers, and the suppliers then in turn fuel the users. It's a cyclical problem. We're in law enforcement. We're not psychologists. We're not socialists, we're not sociologists, we're not social workers. We can only work on one half of the problem, and that's supply. We know who the suppliers are, whether they be illicit or otherwise. But as far, we can't work the other half of the equation, and that is demand. That comes from you. That comes from you as parents. That comes from you as teachers, as brothers, sisters, boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives. Unlike another crime problem like banks, of which you don't have two motivated parties, you only have one motivated party, that's the bad guy to rob the bank, or a rapist, one motivated person who wants to commit a rape, or one motivated burglar who wants to commit the burglary. That's stuff that we in law enforcement can deal with because it's one part of the problem, it's the motivated offender. We cannot deal with the motivated user. That's something that comes at home, and it's reinforced in the schools, and it's reinforced in your families. So I just want to make that clear. This is a crime problem. It's a social problem. It is not a police problem. We cannot solve it. Probation cannot solve it. By the time it gets to us, it's way too late. It's way too late. Now we're just talking about incarcerating the offender. This is a problem. It's a two-pronged problem. It's two parts of the equation. And again, half of that starts at home with the family, with the parents, and with educators. We have an anonymous tip line for RX abuse. It could be an abuser, it could be a user, it could be a dealer, it could be a bad doctor or a pharmacist. You can go online or you can call us and your tips are anonymous. You also can call us here. Those are the people I work with, Lisa Fernandez and Paul Callahan, and our number's there if you have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Our next speaker, the gentleman with the cameras, would respect his privacy. I'd like to welcome Sean.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. I'm a recovering addict. I did oxycodone for 3 years and I sold them as well. I'm just going to tell you about my story. This is only the 4th time I've done this, so you'll have to bear with me. I'm really just going off the top of my head here. And during these 3 years, there's a lot of things that were kind of a blur to me and that frankly I don't even remember. But I'm just going to really just tell you what I do remember, and what I really hope a lot of you get out of this is that I wasn't your you know, typical drug addict and drug dealer. All the signs that, you know, some of the speakers have gone over tonight, I didn't show any of those signs. I didn't have your typical background. I didn't have any of that, so, you know, I hope a lot of you get out of this is that, you know, there's what we call functioning drug addicts, and I was the epitome of a functioning drug addict. So I'll just start by telling you how it really started. When I was in high school, I had 2 injuries. I had my ACL torn, and I had some surgery in my shoulder. Both were done my senior year of high school. Both times I was prescribed Percocets. They were the 512s. One of the speakers mentioned those before. You know, I took them strictly for the pain. It was something I had never taken. In my high school during this time, it really wasn't an issue. No one I knew really did them. I mean, I had heard of them, but it wasn't, you know, wasn't anything that was ever brought up at DARE or any drug seminars like this. You know, we were always warned about the heroin, cocaine, marijuana, alcohol. Never Percocets. So my senior year, like I said, I took those for the pain, and you know, a few months went by, healed the injuries, you know, never went back to them, never had an issue with them. And this was 2 surgeries within a year, so nothing ever came of it. Then I went to college. I went to college around here, Merrimack College. It's right north Andover, small college. And once I got into Merrimack, that's where Percocet 30s came into play. I can't even really describe to you. It was just, when colleges, you know, for kids my age, it was, you know, going to try new things and, you know, new experiences. And in college, we're trying new things. This was the thing. It absolutely exploded. Everywhere, every party we went to, you know, it was there. And, you know, I came from, you know, a good high school. You know, I maintained about a 3.5 GPA, great SAT scores, you know, got a scholarship for my academics to Merrimack, you know, had 2 parents, and, you know, nowadays with divorce rates being where it's at, you know, I was very lucky, you know, to have 2 parents, you know, a brother and a sister, great family. There was absolutely not a thing about my childhood that I can say, you know, that led me down the road, you know. Not only that, all my friends, you know, I had one friend who went to Harvard, one friend who went to Yale, you know, another went to BC, BU. You get the point. It wasn't a bad crowd, it wasn't a bad family. It was none of those signs that you would see from a background. So like I said, you know, in college, it just exploded. Now this drug, you know, I was around kids that wouldn't even smoke a joint, but we would be doing a perk 30 specifically. You know, it was that drug that you could kick back and watch the Patriots on a Sunday and do. It was that drug on a Friday night when you wanted to go out and party all night. Same exact thing. We could take them, and you know, they're called a downer, but I really see no reason why they even call it a downer, because we go out and we would party on it all night long. And the best part about it is, you know, there was no come down from it. This is when you first start doing them. You know, my freshman, sophomore year, I started doing them just on the weekends at the party. No come down, no nothing. You know, I could talk to girls on it. It took away all my anxiety. It was like the perfect drug. Because, like I said, in high school, it was, you know, cocaine, heroin, and, you know, watch out for, you know, who you're hanging around with. But none of that applied in this situation. None of it. And, you know, like I said, I did them on the weekends, and a perk 30 in college costs $30. So you do 1, 2, Friday, Saturday, and, you know, kick back for the Pats on Sunday. That's $90. So then on the weekends, that's the weekdays. That's 30 times 7. Okay, that's $210 a week. And then, you know, as junior year came around, it was, instead of 1 a day, it was 2 a days. And do the math, it gets getting extremely expensive. So I decided, okay, I'm a businessman in school here, you know, think I'm really smart, I know what I'm doing, got a great GPA, you know. What better business than selling a product that everyone wants, that there's no downside to, that I can get $30 a pill, and if I buy it in bulk at 100 pills, I'm getting them for $14 a pill. So after the addiction of the pill came the addiction of the money. And the thing is, I never thought I would ever get caught because, I see people that get caught. It's, the idiots who, sell out of their house every day and sell out of their dorm room and sell to all the wrong people. I wasn't doing any of that. And, I'd come home on break and, I'd be at the dinner table at Thanksgiving dinner, high as a kite. No one would know. They say, take a look at your eyes, they were pinned. I mean, everyone's different, but I would be in front of my parents, my aunts, my uncles, absolutely high. And once I graduated college, I was up to about 2 a day, and then it really started getting bad. I ended up getting a full-time job at an investment bank, which just for me was another reason why, who sells, perks every day, picks up $300-400 at a time, and has a, $50,000 a year job at an investment bank. Because I really didn't know anyone else, so just another reason for me that I would never be the one to get caught. And no one in my family or the people who really cared about me knew about this. I mean, even my close friends, like I said, I had a very good group of friends. They weren't, the typical bad crowds you hang out around with. No one ever knew. And 2 a day became 3, became 4, became 5, until I was doing at my worst 8 perk 30s a day. So that's 240 milligrams, $240 street value a day. And I was at this investment bank. I deal with mortgages and other products, and I very easily could have closed one of your mortgages in here on 8 30s in a day. So if you're wondering why your closing costs were so high. But that's literally how it was, and no one knew. No one would ever have known, to be honest. And it could have gone on like that for years. I was making so much money that, 8 30s a day, that's $240 a night. I mean, shit, they talk about a crack habit. I mean, $240 a day, I read about crackheads that don't even do that much. And to me, it was no big deal because everyone around me that was a good kid did this. Like I said, I knew kids that would not even smoke a joint of marijuana that would do a perk 30 with me. It was in my grandma's cabinet. I seen my parents get prescribed to once in a while. I never came from that background. And that's what I'm really trying to stress to everyone is, all the things they just showed you on the screen there, all those, I'm reading some of those and I didn't show any of that. I was never drowsy. I was never slurred speech. My eyes were never pinned, at least I thought they weren't. I can't remember everything, but, a lot of those signs never applied to me. And that's the thing. Don't get me wrong, there's kids I've seen that have gone down that road that got really caught up with it, that will show you all those signs. That, will end up shooting them up, that will end up doing heroin. In my mind, I was up to 8 a day, and I would still, I never do heroin. I was going through withdrawals, and I'd still never even go near it. Never. See, that's the thing. For me, it was the perk 30, and that's it. And no one even realizes that, some of the parents I speak to, they think it's all about the heroin and the cocaine and the marijuana and the booze, but it's for me, it was the 30s. And when I tell you it exploded on my campus, everywhere. It was the thing to do. Everyone was doing it. There was no downside to it. God bless the kids that did them just on the weekends that aren't doing them now. Because when I got out of school, I just figured, hey, this, everyone wants to buy it. And that's the thing, they scared you when I was leaving high school. I guess it really started blowing up. They scared you about the 80s, the Oxy 80s. And the thing is, it appealed to so many kids because they would never touch the Oxy 80s, but they would do a perk 30. It's the same exact thing, but no one realizes that it's essentially synthetic heroin, but no one realizes that. And like I said, they wouldn't even do an 80, no one would, but they would do a perk 30. God is your witness, they would do a perk 30, and they could be, that your picket white fence kid, because that's literally what I was. And I had that great job, and I read another spot on the PowerPoint here, that said they won't care about your family, your friends, your job. I cared about all that. I still loved my family. I would still work my ass off when I was at work. I still hung out with my friends, and I did all of that. I was your functioning drug addict. Like,